Let's slow this down for a second, because what's happening right now is being intentionally buried underneath bureaucratic language. The United States government is moving towards requiring foreign travelers to hand over years of social media history, email addresses, phone numbers, family associations, and biometric data, potentially even DNA, just to enter the country. Most people don't realize that this isn't happening because Congress passed a new law. It's happening because of administrative power. This comes out of the Department of Homeland Security, specifically Customs and Borders Protection. DHS was created in a post-9/11 panic moment and handed enormous discretionary authority over borders, identity, national security. And over time, that authority is metastasized into rulemaking power, where agencies can effectively write policy through regulations instead of laws. This particular move originates as a proposed rule, not legislation, so it's tucked into revisions in the ESTA and the I-94 travel authorization systems. There's no vote. There's no debate on the House floor. No Senate hearings, just a Federal Register notice and a 60-day public comment window that almost nobody knows exists. That's not democracy. It's governance by inertia. And now here's the part that should scare everyone, citizens or not. Once this data is collected, it doesn't live in a vacuum. DHS does not operate in isolation. It shares data across federal agencies, intelligence partners, and critically, private contractors. Surveillance tech firms, data brokers, AI companies training behavioral models. And once private entities touch that data, you never get it back. There's no meaningful deletion standard, no enforceable expiration date, no realistic way to audit how that information is reused, resold, or repurposed 5, 10, 20 years down the line. That data becomes permanent infrastructure, feeding risk scores, predictive policing models, border algorithms, and AI systems that decide who's normal and who's suspicious. Today it's foreign travelers. Tomorrow it's journalists, aid workers, academics, activists, anyone who crossed a border and pissed off the wrong algorithm. So how did DHS and CPB get away with this? Because Congress let them. Congress delegated broad authority under immigration and national security statutes and then stopped doing its job. Oversight dried up, sunset clauses disappeared, emergency powers became default settings. And agencies learned that if they move quietly, slowly, and technically, nobody stops them. The executive branch sets the tone through executive orders. Increased vetting, enhanced screening, modernized security. DHS translates that into rules, CPB implements it, and unless Congress actively intervenes, it just happens. So if we're going to wrestle this back, the first thing that has to happen is Congress has to reassert legislative authority. That means explicit statutory limits on what data can be collected, how long it can be retained, and most importantly, a prohibition on sharing immigration and biometric data with private companies. Period. No loopholes, no national security carve-outs that swallow the rule. Second thing that needs to happen is we need judicial intervention. Our courts need to be forced to answer whether indefinite biometric and social graph collection violates due process, privacy protections, and First Amendment rights, especially when speech and associations are being used as screening criteria. That doesn't happen unless cases are brought, records are subpoenaed, and judges are made to confront the scale of what's being built. The third thing we need is public pressure where it actually hurts. This doesn't get stopped by yelling on social media. It gets stopped when constituents flood congressional offices, when oversight committees are forced to hold hearings, when DHS officials are dragged in under oath and asked a simple question: who owns the data once you collect it? Because if the answer is no one, then the answer is also everyone abuses it. This isn't about borders. It's not about visas, and it's not about safety. It's about whether we're sleepwalking into a system where identity theft itself becomes a permanent surveillance object, owned by the state, monetized by corporations, and enforced by algorithms that no one can appeal. If this sounds fucking crazy, that's because it is. And the only way it stops is if Congress remembers that it exists, the courts remember that they have teeth, and the public refuses to accept policy as substitute for law. That's the line. And we're all standing on it. Look out for yourselves. Look out for a neighbor. Look out for a stranger. Y'all keep doing good.